fact, but you'll probably see a little record in your corner of your screen there. And Jack, I'm going to let you do most of the chit chat, and I'll just jump in when you're faltering. So see you in 1 minute.
Michael, I already love you, Michael, because you got Jeff to back off. He's usually talking all the time, so this is going to work. This is going to work out really well.
Perfect.
But we are honored to be joined here. I mean that by Michael Cavanaugh, who's going to be playing at the Cedarburg Performing Arts Center next Friday evening, the 5th, and bringing his talents and his charisma and everything else to our little corner of the world, and we really appreciate it.
You got it. Looking forward to it.
Welcome to the show. Michael, I was reading a lot about you, and you've been doing this. Your parents started you on this journey with the first piano, correct?
Yeah, I mean, my mom bought the piano just because she always wanted to have one, and she plays a little bit. She didn't know if any of her kids were going to play it. And I just attacked the thing from day one.
Very cool. I love the video on your website about the career day that with all the kids with the realistic careers, and then you, the actor playing you, says I know exactly what I'm being. You had it all stalked out, which is very cool.
Yeah, that was a fun thing. We play that before the show a lot. It's
nice.
That little kid, he's cooler than I was as a little kid, but he did a good job.
he did a good job, right.
Yeah, he did a great job. And actually the lady playing the teacher is his mom in real life.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah. She's used to giving him the business.
She's used to scolding him a little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
It's good.
But I really respect artists, any artist, whether I'm a fan of their music or not, because you took the leap. I mean, you said, I'm going to do this, and you went after it. So I think that is just, there cannot be enough respect and props to you for doing that. That's really cool. That's
great. It worked out. Yeah, I was like, whether I live on Park Avenue or a park bench, this is what I'm doing.
Very cool.
There are benefits to both, really, actually.
There definitely are benefits to both. Yes.
There's so many things I want to ask you, but let's start on the show, if we could, Michael, and talk about what you're going to be bringing to our stage. And it actually is a very nice stage. The acoustics are great for a little town, like a little burg that we have here.
I love little burgs. I'm from Middleburg Heights, Ohio. I love little burgs.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, this is Cedarburg, and I call it Hooterburg, like Petticoat Junction. But you, can you tell us what your show encompasses and what the thought is behind it?
Oh, it's going to be a ton of songs you've never heard of like this. You know.
I know about 20 or 30.
Yeah, so, you know, when you're starting with the music of Billy Joel and Elton John, you've kind of got a lot to work with, right? So my job, two things. First of all, don't screw it up, because these guys are my heroes. And the other thing is, I want to engage with the audience. I want us all to be pals. We're all hanging out together. No matter how big the stage is or how small the stage is, I like it to feel the same way. And, you know, I've performed with the Milwaukee Symphony, and that's a bigger situation. I've performed. I performed with the Boston Pops on July 4th for 500,000 people.
Wow.
And I do smaller shows as well. And I like there to be a connection either way.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I was listening to some of your concerts before, and even when you're with the symphony, you're still like, hey, come on, you know the words, guys. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
I'll
fabulous.
still pick on people, yeah. Friendly peer pressure, yes.
Yeah. Is there an artist that you play that you feel the most connected to, and why, if there is one?
Well, you mean between Billy and Elton?
Yeah, or I see there are others. Is this show just Billy and Elton, the two of them?
As far as I know, it's primarily Billy and Elton.
Okay.
You know, we always throw in a surprise or two.
Yeah.
But in general, I think it's music of Billy and Elton. Well, I mean, I would have to pick, if you're going to force me to, I would have to pick Billy just because I worked for him and I worked with him. So I was in his show on Broadway, and so he was there all the time when we were getting going. And the first time I had to do this stuff in front of him, I couldn't sleep for a couple of weeks. But he always made me feel great. He made me feel relaxed. And, you know, if I would make a mistake in front of him, he would just be like, you know.
Yeah.
It was great because it actually was, you know, he treated me like a colleague, not like some, guy off the street that was, getting the chance of a lifetime, even though that's what it was, kind of.
If you're going to be razzed about flubbing a Billy Joel song, I think it's best to be razzed by Billy Joel.
Right.
I remember we were in the workshop for moving out, and it was right after 9/11, 12 days after 9/11.
Ooh.
Dating myself a little here. And we're doing Uptown Girl. And Uptown Girl has all these verses, and I went into the wrong one, so I'm singing like Uptown Girl, and the backup guys are singing High Class Toys, and Billy was like, yeah. And I honestly, it made me relax. I was like, he understands. And I've been around Billy enough and been to enough shows of him and Elton to know that they are also human beings.
Yeah.
They're legendary human beings, but they're human beings.
Very cool. Billy picked you out after watching a couple of songs, from what I read, in Las Vegas.
Well, he watched me for an hour, and one thing led to another. I didn't know that the moving out thing was already being worked on. Like, he had already met with Twyla Tharp. And at that time, I'm not even sure at that moment that they knew there was going to be a central piano man for this Broadway show. Moving out, you can see I got the poster. Oh, right back there. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There. They weren't. I don't know if they knew at that moment whether the characters were going to sing or whether there would be a piano man. Once they knew there was going to be a piano man, Billy thought I would be a great guy for it. So, although I still had to win over Twyla Tharp, I still had to win over the producers, the Nederlanders. It's a pretty good place to start when I had Billy's thumbs up.
Yeah. Absolutely. I just want to, because I have to ask you about Twyla Tharp, what it was like working with her, because she's like, to me, one of the Mount Rushmore of creative artists that this country has ever had the pleasure of seeing or producing. What was it like working with her?
A lot of things. It was amazing. It was very intense. It was frightening. It was incredible. It was life-changing. So Twyla she's a creative genius, and she wants to do things a certain way. And sometimes it takes us a second to see her vision. But in our case, she was right. She was, so I remember there was one time she wanted to do something, and I was like, well, I don't know about that. And that wasn't the brightest thing I've ever said in my life. And turned out she was right. She was right. And, because I was coming at it purely from this diehard Billy Joel fan that couldn't imagine anything being tweaked at all. And, we were very faithful to Billy's music with a few artistic changes that really, really make sense if you're watching the show. And she knew all along what to do. So there you go.
Yeah.
She was great. I remember the day a bunch of us got nominated for Tonys, and I showed up at the theater, and she just grabbed me and started jumping up and down and dancing around and hooting and hollering, and it was really cool. It was great.
It's fantastic.
I didn't like making mistakes in front of her too much.
No.
We're all human.
Right. Let's go back to the show if we could, Michael. What should people be prepared for in the show? What do you say? This is what is going to happen.
Well, like I said before, be prepared for that interaction. I'm not going to make them stand up and do the chicken dance, but I'm going to, I'm going to give them incentive to, and it works. It works. Because these are, like I said, these are songs they know. They know Rocket Man. They know Crocodile Rock. They know, you may be right. They know these songs. At least I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, I would think so.
They know Piano Man. So it's just a lot of fun. Sometimes, even though it's in a theater, they might be a little surprised by, and, when I say party atmosphere, I don't mean like, we're a party band playing an Animal House party. It's not that. It's still, it's in a theater and we respect our surroundings, but it's just a lot of fun. Like, it's a place to forget about life for a while, right? That's what it is.
Excellent, perfect. And you said a band. What do you bring with you, Michael? As far as
on this show, and it's actually really cool. This show is, I'm bringing my bass player and my drummer, and we're going back kind of to the roots. It's piano, bass, drums, and obviously I'm singing, and there'll be some background vocals as well. But if you go back to like the Elton John album, 11-17-70, where he's doing like Take Me to the Pilot, and it's just raw and rootsy.
Yeah.
It's really cool. We really dig into what these songs, the nucleus of what these songs are. You know?
That's awesome.
Trust me, it sounds huge.
Yeah.
The piano is a huge instrument, right? And I play a lot of instruments, but there is no, in my opinion, there's no instrument in the world that could sound as huge as the piano all by itself. And my rhythm section's crazy good, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Excellent, great. Is there a song you say this is the one I live to play for? Is there one or not?
It kind of, I would say it changes on a day-to-day basis, but a song that is pretty tough to beat is this, right? Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, for people who don't know, because it just, it's like 3 songs in one. As a matter of fact, I think it originally was 3 different songs that became one. And to me, it's a masterpiece, you know? So whether it's that or whether it's, that to me is like if these people are into this music at all, they're going to love that song. Then there's songs where I'll read the audience and we'll see, like, I'll get a feel for if they're more of a, some people like just want to hear Benny and the Jets and Rocket Man and Your Song and
Tiny Dancer.
yeah, I'm Still Standing, you know. And then there's some people that want to hear Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding. So I kind of get the feel.
Nice.
You know, so I mean, I love playing Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding, but we'll see. It's there. It's there. I'm gonna read it. You know, like because it is so hard to get in. It's hard enough to do one of these artists. And even if you do one of these artists, they're going to say, I can't believe you didn't do this. I can't believe you didn't do this. But when you do 2 of them, you got to make your choices, right? So I'm going to try to hit as many people between the eyes as I can.
Well, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, that song is what clinched it for me for Billy Joel. I mean, I had heard, you know, the really big hits, but going through that Stranger album and then hearing that song where it was in that album, I was like, what the fuck is that? That is so good.
Yeah.
On the flip side, the Tumbleweed Connection album of Elton's is the one that put me over the edge. And I scream at people. I'm like, don't you never? Because not a lot of people have heard that. It's a strange album. It has a weird like one-off thing. I'm like, that's the one.
Yeah.
Mine was Honky Chateau. That's the one that did it for me with Elton. That's fantastic.
I love doing. That is one of my favorites. All this.
Awesome.
I mean, I love that stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Oh man,
Great
it's
stuff.
just fabulous.
We're gonna have fun.
Oh yeah, big time.
Fantastic.
And you will be loved here. Is there anything you say? Why didn't those dumbs ask me this? Is there something that no one's ever asked you that they should ask you?
What's the one?
Yeah, what's
the one thing I've never been asked?
That you want to be asked, not that
I want to be asked.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, you know. I've
Let's do one for the kids. You know, mom and dad are yelling at them to practice their piano. Let's ask you that: how much, even to this day, how much do you play a day? Do you think? Are we talking 3 hours, 5 hours? Have you spent 8 hours playing?
It's funny you said that. I don't know if you saw. I put a thing on Instagram and Facebook a couple of days ago because we just got back we did a show in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai with the symphony.
Oh wow!
And I'm sitting on the beach. And it's on my Instagram and it's on my Facebook. And I got the ocean behind me and I'm sitting there in shorts and a tank top. I'm like, hey, it's a work day. You know, hey, we're doing a show. And then I end with, practice your piano, kids. That's what I end with.
There you go.
So, and the funny thing is, so my piano teacher from when I was a kid happened to watch it. And he was like, practice. And he put a question mark because I didn't always practice I didn't always practice this. But I played for hours and hours a day. So I probably played 4 or 5 hours a day coming up, you know, and I probably played 4 or 5 hours a day on the guitar too coming up. So now it depends how many, if I'm doing show after show after show after show, then I don't usually have a keyboard in my hotel room.
Sure.
But when I'm at home, it depends. Hour, 2 hours a day, probably.
Okay. Yeah,
is what I do. It's amazing. As long as I've been doing this, if I go on vacation and I don't touch a keyboard for a week, I'm like, somebody change the order of these things.
Scales, cadences, and arpeggios.
The first song. You know.
Yeah.
It's like exercise. You don't do it for a while. It's like, You know what happened?
Yeah.
Muscle
Yeah,
memory. Absolutely.
speaking of which, how much does it take you to physically get ready when you're going on tour for these shows? I mean, you're exerting some energy.
Well, I do focus a lot on a lot of things. Physically, I do exercise pretty intensely 6 days a week, which can get tough when you travel. There's times I get up at 2 in the morning before a 6 a.m. flight to work out.
Oof.
I'm not real happy about it,
Right.
but it helps me keep my wind. You know, when if I'm playing and singing all this crazy stuff, and also vocally, I do hour and a half. I'd say an average of an hour and a half a day of vocal warm-ups.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Really physical thing. People don't really, I think, appreciate the physicality of what you do.
They don't. I try to tell people, if you want to know what it's like, go like this on your desk and start yelling for 2 hours straight, and then see how you feel at the end of it. That's kind of what it feels like. People are like,
You just described our show, actually, that we do in the morning.
Yeah,
That's,
there you
that's
go.
kind of essentially
Yeah.
You've been watching. Thanks. All right.
That's good. So you
Man.
guys could do my gig too.
flip-flop next week. That sounds
Perfect.
good.
Perfect.
Excellent. Great. Well, I'm really glad you could stop by. It's a great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You made it easy. You sent me a StreamYard link. Perfect. Boom. Here we are.
Excellent.
Modern
Excellent.
technology.
Yeah, without a doubt. Absolutely. Well, we'll look forward to you in Cedarburg here. That's
Awesome.
Really exciting. And, yeah, we'll make sure we spread the word as best we can in town and sing it from the rooftops, as they say.
Awesome, guys. See you
Definitely.
next week.
Thank you very much.
Michael
really
Cavanaugh,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Nice to
Thank
meet you.
you.
Take care.
Bravo.
Excellent.
Bye.
Cool.
And right about here is where I'll cut, and we'll go from there. And that was great. Thank you very much. That was
Yes.
Awesome, guys.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.